Hey everybody, and welcome to Grand Theft Auto 5 Redux. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make Redux look a little bit more realistic. So as you can see, we're using the default Redux profile. Now there are certain ways, like, I know it looks pretty good right now. You might be saying, oh wow, that looks really good, Matt. That's pretty realistic. Well, actually, it's not photorealistic. It looks real in the sense that it looks like it's what it is, but it's not. When you look at it, your brain isn't tricked. But there are ways to trick your brain. Different places you can actually go in the game that look more realistic than others, and settings to turn on that do make it more realistic. And by the way, guys, you will need the native trainer mod, as you can see over here. Super easy to install. You might already actually have it installed if you installed Redux successfully. So yeah, you're going to be needing that. You're also really going to be pushing your hardware in this tutorial. So yeah, keep that in mind, guys. We're going to start off, though, in the Grand Theft Auto 5 settings. The first thing you're going to want to do is go to graphics. Now, I don't know what you have in here, but you're going to want to turn as much of it on as possible. Especially over here where it says FXAA, you're going to want to turn that off. Go down to MSAA times 4 and turn on TXAA. Make sure your distance scaling is at max. Texture quality you're going to want to have up, shader quality, shadow quality, reflection quality you're going to want to have up, reflection MSAA you're going to want to have up, water quality, all of this, even the grass. The grass isn't as important, but it's good to have that on. Like I'm going to keep it at max settings here, which I'm actually not at yet, so we're going to actually go ahead and turn those max settings on. Once you're done in the graphics option, you're going to want to go to advanced graphics. Again, turn all of this stuff on, especially extended distance scaling. And shadows distance is not as important, but it's good to, again, have that on. This is going to really chug your game if you turn everything on. You guys probably can't tell, but I'm really chugging right now. If you turn all this stuff on, you're going to notice the game does look a lot better. A lot more realistic, probably. And if you're really lagging, a good thing to do is to actually go to your graphics and go down to VSync and turn that to half. This will lock your game to 30 FPS. You might be thinking, why would you want to do that? Well, if you have all the settings up, you're probably not hitting 60 anyways, and 30 FPS actually looks more realistic in the terms of there's more motion blur. And by the way, with the motion blur, you're going to want to turn that all the way up as well, even if you don't like it, because motion blur is a big part of making things look real. So as you can see, the ground looks pretty realistic right now. The car, not so much, especially with those clouds and the overblown colors. Maybe some of the buildings and the motion blur look kind of realistic. But actually, car selection is a huge part of the process. As you can see over here, we do have a taxi. We're going to get out a shotgun. Oop, and just shoot this guy. There we go. Ouch. Get up, Michael. Yeah, so car selection is a huge part of the process. Because some cars look more realistic than others, the taxi just so happens to look very realistic, as you can see. And also, you're probably going to want to switch to this camera mode, which is the one right after first person. Again, repair the vehicle because you don't want those unrealistic blood stains all over it. So now I guess we'll look for a location that is very realistic. Pointing up at the clouds or the sky, not so realistic. The ground is more of a realistic thing. Again, try to stay away from any of these kind of trees right here. You know, these birch trees I'm looking at right now. Those are not realistic trees. The palm trees are pretty realistic, however. You can more look at these. These are better. Like right here, pretty dang realistic, to be honest. Especially if you start shaking the camera around, the more motion blur, the more realistic. And definitely the faster you go in cars, the more realistic it's going to look. You'll be able to find screenshots in between the frames when you're recording that are very realistic. Now again, right now we're on the sunny mode for GTA 5, the sunny weather, and weather is another huge part of making GTA 5 look realistic. So actually what I want to do is go find some buildings for the weather we're about to change into, but no people because the people don't look very realistic in GTA 5. And oh, the time is changing. You're never going to want to be on nighttime or anything close to sunset. Now we're backward and pause the clock. Alright, I'm going to stick around right here, I guess, and we'll actually open this area up with light by going to the time, going backwards a little bit. Maybe, there we go. I'm going to go to my weather, then I'm going to go ahead and switch to overcast. From what I found, this is the most realistic looking weather preset. You might find that the fog or the rain is more realistic, however, I definitely found that this one is the most realistic. You know, after you've set this, you're going to probably want to drive around and start looking for some really realistic spots, because this is a pretty realistic preset. because as you guys can see, the sky is cloudy and white. There's no overblown colors or anything, and when you see, overcast weather in real life, this is pretty much what it looks like. Especially, when you start getting real fast, stuff starts to look more realistic. And, mess around a little bit, especially with the time. Alright guys, so for my final thing, I'm just going to show you a really realistic area. It is actually the sewers in the city. I don't know where those exactly are. Alright, here we are, guys. Again, I'm going to switch the weather to overcast. I'm going to go to my time. I'm going to go to right about here. And again, the weather, foggy does work pretty well too. Smog works again. Overcast is the best I've found. I'm going to go ahead and actually spawn a car. Believe it or not, the Vaca looks pretty good. As you can see, that's already pretty realistic, to be honest. Look at that. And then you can just, start driving it around in the sewer area. This is probably some of the most realistic moments, and stuff of GTA. Driving around in the sewer with a Vaca and the specific weather and stuff. And a chrome or black paint job actually really helps cars out. You guys can get that too. Alright guys, thank you for watching. I am iBoxical. Make sure you subscribe if this helped you make it look a little bit more realistic. Again, no promises really. Redux isn't the most realistic shader pack. GTA 4s were like the maximum I think we could ever get for realism in GTA. Again, GTA 5 isn't a super realistic looking game, so this is probably the best you're going to get. Like I said, I've been using the original Redux pack. I've tried dark and realistic, and to be honest, this one just looks better. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Subscribe and all that stuff, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.